Hey, this is your girl, BB from the streets, bringing you all that tea. Teams from the Department of Homeland Security and other law enforcement agencies were executing warrants to search Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami at the same time, on opposite sides of the coast. Let's watch.
Right now, authorities are carrying out searches at properties associated with P. Diddy. This is all part of a federal investigation into human trafficking. They also say that this investigation has been ongoing now for several months. They add, our sources, that an arrest does not appear to be imminent at this time, but what you are looking at right now is live video of one of these searches being conducted. Now, this is a search that is happening at Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles home. This is in the Beverly Hills area, so you can see a tremendous amount of law enforcement present there all around that home. So this search just began here. There's also, as we understand, another search being conducted on the other side of the country in Miami, because we are hearing from Homeland Security that there are investigations going on using the assistance of HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. We do understand that they will provide us with updates as possible, but this goes into multiple allegations against Sean Diddy Combs over the years. There have been several civil suits against him as well, including human trafficking, all of which he has denied as this has been ongoing. But again, clearly an escalation that we are seeing play out live right now in Los Angeles. I want to bring in our ABC News contributor and trial attorney, Brian Buckmeyer, who I know, Brian, you have been following this case for many months, and you bring it up to me all the time. And now I wouldn't call this the culmination. In fact, probably this is just the beginning, right? So what do you make of the fact that they've decided to carry out these two searches simultaneously and on other sides of the country here?
So, Kayla, you're right. I've been talking to this about this for too long. But what does it get you? What does a person need to have the ability to search a home? Probable cause. So what I'm doing is I'm looking backwards. How could a judge grant the ability to search these two homes, and why would you do it simultaneously? Probable cause being the belief, or at least having the quantity of information that a crime either did happen, is happening, or is going to happen. That's how law enforcement must have to prove to a judge or a court why they have the opportunity or the legal ability to search someone's home. Now, why would you do it in conjunction from one property and another at the same time? Law enforcement typically does this because they are worried that information or property or evidence may be hidden away or destroyed while you're searching one property. And so they're looking for something to corroborate the belief that they have that a crime did occur. And as you pointed out earlier, he's facing multiple allegations of sex trafficking. So perhaps that is a crime in which they're investigating. Perhaps that is what they're trying to seek more information from. But in order to search a home, you have to have probable cause. The only question is, probable cause of what?
Probable cause. And so, Brian, as you look at this and you watch this, and we'll shout if we see any more movement on these screens, but it is important to note, right, that this is all being run out of the Southern District of New York here. So there is a tremendous amount of coordination happening within law enforcement at the highest levels.
Absolutely. And the reason why I believe it's being coordinated out of the SDNY, or the Southern District of New York, which encompasses, for the most part, Manhattan, is a lot of the civil allegations stem from there, whether it be Cassie or the other 4 allegations or civil lawsuits that stemmed from it afterwards. And so what it appears to be, at least if you're thinking this is connected to the civil lawsuits, are that the SDNY is coordinating with the other agencies in Miami as well as Los Angeles to search the properties of Sean Combs to see if there's any evidence of that. Now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head what would be evidence of sex trafficking, predominantly something that might stick out as to something to corroborate what we've heard in these civil allegations. But if they find it, it could lead to further investigations. At this point, we're hearing that there's no potential arrest, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be one in the future based on either more information collected or if they're finding whatever it is that they're hoping to find in these 2 locations.
And Brian, we do want to mention that we were initially told what we were showing our viewers here is a home in Los Angeles, California, near Beverly Hills. that is not the case. What you're seeing on your video on your screen is in fact Miami, and then they are also searching a home simultaneously in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills area at the exact same time. And to Brian's point here, law enforcement does that often in an effort to make sure that these searches can be conducted without sort of tipping off anyone else that might be involved, which doesn't give anyone any time to do anything questionable with evidence. So you're getting a larger shot there. You can see now just how close that home is to the water as our affiliate helicopter is flying over this home again in Miami as it is being searched. I want to now bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brian Buckmeyer, don't go anywhere because I have several more questions for you as well. But Brad, as you're watching this, first of all, can you explain to us, Brad, what that vehicle is that we're seeing right there, that big white truck?
Well, I can't see. I don't have a screen up to see it. But if it looks like a cargo truck or looks like any sort of truck that you could put evidence into. So since we don't know kind of what they're looking for, I can give you a list of what I think they're looking for. Is that you have to have a crime scene search vehicle to go in with the various things you need to do to search. So my guess is it's that, because my sense was they weren't going there to arrest anybody. This was to do a search. And so they took everyone probably from the evidence response teams of maybe the FBI and DHS to do this search.
Yeah, so a large vehicle to collect evidence. It does also look like it has some kind of satellite up in the air as well. We're also seeing local news in the area, and you're seeing law enforcement, Brad, sort of walking down a very long driveway to enter the home, and you're not seeing, it's not a chaotic scene at all. Definitely not. And you're right. Our sources are saying that an arrest at this point is not imminent.
Right. So, quickly, why were they able to go in there? To Brian's point, how did they convince a judge to go in there? You have to have a link directly to these two houses. In other words, do they have video of some of these acts that are being alleged in either location or both locations? Are there witnesses? People that have come forward? Of course, people have come forward. Can they put acts in these houses? Maybe they were there firsthand. Is there CCTV that could be seized? Does he actually have video that he collected while these acts were going on? It's not uncommon in these types of cases. So it's all about what happened in those houses that law enforcement convinced a judge that there may be elements of the crime inside these houses.
All right, thank you so much for that analysis. I also hope we can get some video up of the raid that's happening in Los Angeles as well so that we can learn a little bit more. But in the meantime, you're seeing, again, more video of P. Diddy there. But again, we are talking right now about a simultaneous search of two of his properties, one happening in Miami, the other one happening in Los Angeles. And we just have some new reporting. We're told here by our ABC's Aaron Katursky that the women who have made public accusations against Diddy are welcoming Monday's law enforcement activity, we're told. In fact, there is a statement from one of their lawyers where they're saying we will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those who have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for what they call his depraved conduct. And so I want to bring back in here Brian Buckmeyer. And Brian, it was the first thing we talked about, right? That this is not the culmination of this. This potentially could be the very beginning. So, Brian, what do you make of, first of all, that the lawyers are jumping right out to talk about this immediately, not wasting any time to draw attention to it?
Well, this is beneficial not only for their clients, but also for their cases. If we look to the last alleged victim, Rodney Jones Jr., who came out with allegations that seem to be very similar to Cassie, as well as the other three women who brought allegations, he said that Sean Combs has cameras throughout his home that records a lot of these events. In his complaint, that being Jones Jr.'s, he had snapshots of video that he had taken himself. And so to Brad's point, I think part of this, if the SDNY and the federal federal government is looking into this from the lens of these civil allegations is to see how much of it is true. And if any of this is true, could criminal charges be levied against Sean Combs? Now, some of these civil allegations came up because of a look-back window for civil allegations to be brought through New York's Adult Survivor Act. But some of these charges, like sex trafficking, have no statute of limitations, and they have severe penalties under the law. And so law enforcement be looking at this and saying, if these are true, and there are videos, and there are cameras, or that these allegations can be corroborated through what we find in Sean Combs' home, then they will move to the next step, which would potentially being evidence collecting or arresting someone.
And Brian, if you can, just quickly, while we only have a few more moments here, help our audience understand how far back they're looking. I mean, some of these allegations stem some 30 years ago, right? And they, in some ways, coincide with the uprising of his career.
Yes, a lot of these allegations, just from the lawsuits, I think stem back from 93 or 94 and go all the way up into the production of his latest album in 2023 and 2024. And so we're talking about a long span of time, but even just outside of those lawsuits as well, there has always been these kind of whispers or rumors in the background as to Sean Combs' involvement to various activities. If you're talking about Cassie's allegation of him being part of Kid Cudi's vehicle being exploded, or other allegations of assault or shooting or sexual harassment from Rodney Jones Jr. and the other four alleged victims. This is a long investigation. I think this is only the beginning because there's a lot to have to corroborate from the people who have come forward, and also a potential of people who we haven't seen come forward to see what evidence they have and to see whether or not it's true, rumor, or something in between.
Nope, just the guys on the ground down there, the heavily armed officers that made their way inside. They actually are kind of just milling about or holding the perimeter, as it would be. The non-essential, you can see them making their way back over to these armored vehicles, probably doing a little debrief about what they saw. In any type of these situations, it really is, you've got these armored officers that go in first, but I would venture to say the investigators or the people that know what they're looking for probably still out there on the streets, and they're waiting for that all clear to make sure that there is absolutely nobody on this property. And again, this is just a precaution. They don't want to have any kind of issues. Maybe somebody's hiding still, maybe just scared. And it doesn't have to be nefarious, and just because they don't know what's going on, and they just don't want to have somebody pop out of a closet or a bathroom or any one of these rooms while they're doing that investigation, and then other problems can ensue. So that's basically why we're seeing that large presence. They keep walking through there, and like you mentioned, this is an extremely large home, and probably with many rooms and little secret areas. So they want to make sure that everything is cleared before they allow those investigators in to start doing that investigation, whatever it is that they're looking for. But you can see a number of those officers making their way back into that this is the big main house, as it would be, making their way back inside. And I would venture to say that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure that there is nobody in there. I don't think those guys that we're seeing, guys and gals that we're seeing in those heavily armored gear and equipment, I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and why, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security. You have support from local law enforcement officials as well. We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there. A part of all of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while, and as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly media at this point. We were the first ones here on scene, but yeah, since there's probably a dozen different media agencies. Yeah, it looks like his homes on both coasts are being raided. We still have not gotten word on exactly where P. Diddy is, if he is in fact in New York right now or in Los Angeles, and of course, yeah, we haven't seen him here in Holmby Hills. This is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen. And it all unfolded, I would say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course, it's a little bit calmer, I would say, than it was about 20 minutes ago when it all happened. The guns that were drawn earlier have been since put away. It looks like they just put away their drone, but of course doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected to these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
we'll bring
point,
the very latest as soon as, I'm sorry?
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill, but if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby Hills off of Sunset near Beverly Glen. So the vehicles have basically just moved forward. You're seeing a lot more of those law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security, though, back here on the street in Mapleton, since they've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside that beautiful home belonging to P. Diddy, to Sean Combs. So I don't think they have any intention, Sandra, on going anywhere anytime soon. And overhead, you can see law enforcement helicopters and, of course, Stu up there in Skyfox.
Thank you so much, Haley, for that perspective on the ground right there in front of that Holmby Hills mansion. Stu, up in Skyfox, it looks like, yes, there are some more law enforcement, but in different attire. Should I say suits instead of body armor?
Definitely, and you know, and we all know how that works. The suits are going to be the investigators and probably the ones that are running the show. And again, I still think that they are just waiting for that green light for them to be allowed to make their way inside the property and to make their way to the areas that I would venture to say that they probably are pretty specific. I don't think they're just going in randomly. And again, this is just a guess. I don't think they're going in randomly, just going through everybody's stuff inside there. They probably have an area that they know, or an office that they're going to be looking into, or some computers that they might want to physically get their hands on, and that's what they're waiting for right now to make their way inside this property. This, like you said, very beautiful home out there in the Holmby Hills area, and they just waiting to get the all clear to allow them inside. While these officers that we see right there in the tactical gear, well, their job is to make sure that everything is safe for them to go in. Now, they don't probably. Again, I just want to be clear. It's like nobody's thinking that there's booby traps or some kind of sniper inside the home. That's not what they're thinking at all. It's probably more along the lines of they want to make sure that everybody is outside of the home because they don't want to have somebody stepping out or coming out later on and, surprising or catching people off guard. That's not what they want. And right now you can see Sandra, you've been saying, there's a large number of people out here. I would venture to say, as far as the officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Homely Hills area. And as far as the suits that we were talking about, that's part of the group right there. But there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge. And that's them right there, actually. They perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process or figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, I wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs, or Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's one of...
It can't get any worse for Diddy right now. It's like all the skeletons he have in his closet, they falling out all over the place. According to active lawsuits that Puffy is going through right now, this is the reason why they was even able to get the search warrants, allegedly to the crimes that he committed. But seems like Puffy been a bad boy for life. Forget Will Smith and Martin. It's like, if you did this, I hope you wasn't trying to hold on to no trophies like they show you on CSI Miami and all these other crime shows, how people hold on to trophies and all of that. Because if you did, you toasted yourself. But we're going to just have to see how this unfolds. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, hit like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell.